So the next topic to me is maybe the thing that has made the most sense coming out of the US government since this entire thing
Makes
started.
sense.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what Lloyd Austin is saying actually does make sense, which is our third topic for today. So let me share with you guys what he
Yeah.
actually is saying. So for a little bit of context for those of you who are just joining us, the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said that protecting Palestinian civilians that
Oh, I see. Yeah.
it's key to avoiding a strategic defeat for
Mm.
Israel. Okay, now what does he mean by this? Because I've heard this argument over and over and over again by voices who have been silenced about it. But now the US Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, said it. He was speaking at the 2023 Reagan National Defense Forum in California. And he said this. So let me share this with you guys, because to me, regardless of what side you're on, because I am on neither side. I don't know about you, but I'm on neither side. I'm on the
I'm
side
on
of
the side. I'm
humanitarian.
on the side of justice.
And I'm on the side
Yeah,
of
it
peace,
has
and
to
I'm on
be.
the side of
So,
protecting
yeah,
civilians.
if Israel
Um,
does wrong, we call it out. If Palestinians do wrong, we call it out. But justice matters, and we don't seem to be able to be fair.
well,
That's our problem.
definitely. And so, but one of the biggest issues
Yeah,
that I've had has been sort of Netanyahu's push for, we're just going to obliterate them off the face of the earth.
they
That is
can't.
that is a rough argument to sell to the world, um because it's, and not to downplay what happened to the Israeli people
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
because to me there are horrors on both sides. Okay, so let's play this for a second, because this is a surprising to me. This is actually surprising that he said this. Okay, and this is from Middle East Monitor.
This kind of a fight, the center of gravity is the civilian population. And if you drive them into the arms of the enemy, you replace a tactical victory with a strategic defeat. So I have repeatedly made clear to Israel's leaders that protecting Palestinian civilians in Gaza is both a moral responsibility and a strategic imperative.
Yeah.
This
Oh
kind of
well.
a fight,
I don't know. It just hypes, no more, no less. Because remember, he got pushed back by Senator Graham. The
He
same
did.
percent.
He did.
Same
Yeah.
with Rubio, Florida, the senator from
Mhm.
Florida, and another hypocrites. Anyway, Ernest. Johnny Ernst from Iowa, whatever.
Mhm.
They all buying into the narrative of you gotta have to, you know, obliterate all the Palestinian civilians and all that. It shows you right there. So
Yeah.
when Austin said, the Secretary of
Yeah.
Defense says something like this, I just don't buy that argument.
Energy bills are rising at a historic rate, and there's no end in sight. If you talk to enough people, you'll soon realize nearly everyone's shocked at their recent electricity bills. Some studies reveal energy costs have skyrocketed by as high as 60% in as little as 2 years. This is why tens of thousands are installing this magical little device to help slash their energy bills. This sophisticated gadget stabilizes electrical currents, reduces dirty electricity, and helps protect your appliances and electronics. Simply plug it in to your home's wall outlet to help dramatically lower energy consumption and ultimately help reduce your power bills month after month. Countless 5-star reviews back up the notion that this device is one of the most efficient ways to save money while beating the greedy power companies. But there's more. If you place your order now, you'll also receive 65% off, fast shipping within the US, hassle-free returns, and last but not least, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee. Simply go to don'twastepower.com to take advantage of this limited time deal before they sell out. Once again, that's don'twastepower.com. That's don'twastepower.com. Order now.
His argument is thinking in terms, well, why did you wait till the 59th day, almost 60 days, almost
I agree.
2 months
To say
for you
this?
to say this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first week when you allow
Yeah.
through your boss giving the green light for Israel to do whatever? So to me, that's the double standard of it, to justify the narrative. That's why he's saying what he's saying. And then also sending a message there to the defense industry that if the strategic, anytime you talk or mention strategic, you're thinking long term.
Yeah.
That is the message he's sending off to, in my opinion, as an analyst, I think of it in these terms, letting Israel know that is a strategic defeat. That means you're going to have to think long term. Thinking long term, you're going to have to depend on the commitment and the support of those who's going to.
Well,
that's the way.
And that is sort of the thing, right? So as they're sort of preparing for a long war, right? Israel's preparing for a long war, which is interestingly enough a similar thing that happened between Russia and Ukraine, right? So initially, you know, Russia and Ukraine was supposed to be over fairly quickly, and then 2 years in, it was still going until now, technically, not very much longer, probably. And so to me, though, this is the thing that makes the absolute most sense, is more or less, you know, when it's one thing if what you're going after is military, right? Is military, but the death toll that the world is watching is primarily civilian. It's primarily civilian, and it's women and children, right? And so let's say the $15,000 number, or 15, oh my gosh, the 15,000 person number is inflated, right? Because we don't really know. No matter what, it's a lot though, and it's somewhere above 10,000, and it's hard for the world to watch that and say, okay, this is good. It's terrible. And so what do you do when you hurt civilians? You lose the court of public opinion, whether it's the public opinion of the people in Gaza, because there's I think 1.7 million people have been displaced, whether you lose the court of opinion for them or for the world. When you go after civilians, or when you accidentally get civilians in these attacks, you lose the court of public opinion. And that's what's happening here. And I think that's why Lloyd Austin actually was able to say this after 50 some days in, is because that narrative is, while the conflict here in the United States, especially among the younger generation, is wildly unpopular. And so the US is having to navigate the fact that if this continues, it's very likely Joe Biden, if they run him again, is not going to win. And so I think that the United States right now is having to do some damage control in some ways, because you're right. Absolutely. Initially, they came out and they said, no ceasefire, no ceasefire, no ceasefire. We're just going to do this. We're going to do this. And then the court of public opinion, us, the people in the world, started paying very close attention to this and saying, okay, this has gone too far. This is more than just self-protection, because obviously the Israelis have the right to protect themselves. Of course they do. But this is past that.
Oh, I'm listening. Yeah. Well, I disagree with you on the last part. So.
Okay. I'm open to the disagreement.
Of course, the protecting themselves, but you do it through atrocities. Is that how you protect yourself?
That's what I definitely agree with that. You do not do it that way.
Because that's been the problem that I think the Israeli government has been accustomed to, is just their self-defense. Well, no. Not when you start committing crimes. That's not
and it's not self-defense against women and children, civilians. Do you know what I mean?
Well, to them there is no differentiation. So that's why we won't be able to say something like this, because then if you look at it that way, then what do you say about the Palestinians, that they are defending their own? So
they have the right to defend themselves also.
That's the thing. Well, this is the whole idea of if it weren't for what Israel was doing to the Palestinians, this would have not happened. But if it weren't for the U.S. double standard, we won't even be here to begin with. And this is why there's kind of, you look at it, just how even the international system is not even able to be fair.
Yeah.
So why ISIS is not stepping forward?
No, that's a
Yeah.
great
Yeah, it's
great
kind of
question.
just,
And there's been calls for them. South Africa called for them to step forward, and
Yeah.
they have
well,
absolutely
the
not.
problem is South Africa does not wield much power.
No, they
That's the thing.
unfortunately
So
don't.
that is where the difference, and this is why the system, the global system, needs about a reset
Yeah.
for it. So that's the way we see it. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's take us some questions here from our viewers, if there are a few questions here.
Yes.
Because I have to go prepare for. I have another live stream on the other channel later on, so I need to prepare for that as well. And we'll answer a few questions
Yes,
here.
it's going to take a second for people to pull in questions.
Shows up,
but I think that one of the biggest issues when it comes to conflicts like this is that there's so much emotion going that a lot of logical thought isn't allowed through.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because there is a bunch of there is a bunch of emotion. I mean, horrible things have happened, right? And so it makes sense that there's a lot of emotion, but the problem is that the emotion that got you into the mess is not going to be the emotion that gets you out of it. You have to take a step back and look logically, because more or less what Lloyd Austin is saying is that, more or less he's saying that you're creating more of the problem that you're trying to solve by killing people's families.
Yeah, but at the same time, Austin is part of the problem himself. So
I understand
that's
that.
why
I understand
it's all hypes. Just that's the bottom line to it. What Austin's saying, it's just hype. He would have said this the first few days back in October, but it was by choice, by design. Everything has a purpose, has an objective to it. So.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys put a Q, so we know it's a question, and I'm gonna scroll all the way up to the top just to see and scroll down.
I see a question, but that, guys, remember, we cannot always answer. If you word it in a particular way, we cannot say it live on YouTube. So please word your questions appropriately. Okay, let's see. Let's ask this question. Jesus Christ is speaking.
Interesting screen name.
Yes. Question: what is your take on the Guyana and Venezuela situation? I live very close to Trinidad. I'm hoping they come to some agreement.
I don't know. I heard about some whispers about Venezuela is gonna take over Guyana. No, ain't gonna happen. No, I don't know literally the details of it. Yeah, but tensions sometimes are by design erupting. It's the same thing we witnessed with the elections of the new Argentinian president. If you only know who was there that day, who was in Argentina that day? It was the National Security Advisor. Tells you the story right there. So all of a sudden, tensions erupt like that. But as far as the statements that I've read elsewhere that Venezuela is going to take over, no, it's not.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed
Mohammed Kulmi.
I apologize.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the work both of you do. As a Somali Canadian, I'm deeply disappointed by my so-called Arab brothers in the Gaza, word I cannot say, the Arab nations driven by politics or fear of Israel.
Yeah, it's because the purpose has always been maintaining power and the survival of in case of a monarchy. That's the bottom line to it. I mean, you talk about all those countries acquiring these weapons that's for over 50 years now. What are you going to be doing with that weapon being in storage? And again, please understand, we're not advocating for conflict here or war, whatever.
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
the opposite,
I'm just saying the obvious. So Arab countries tends to talk too much. It's in action that you find out about. Like I always say, watch what a man does, not what he says. So thank you so much for your super sticker. Any more questions?
Yes, there
one
are.
One
Let's see. One more.
And remember, guys, to join us tomorrow for the Rumble. Okay. And please, if this is, hit that like button as we speak. We noticing some tricks going on when you guys hit the likes, but it doesn't translates. And we all know what they're doing to this channel, but
Yes.
we're gonna stay the course, as we said.
Absolutely.
Because truth matters.
Alexandros Katsis, what effect will this have on trade?
Well, a big time. If I mean, think of it this way: if Arab countries impose oil embargo on Israel, just this was country, now move from that into a major conflict where major powers getting involved, where, because you got two major areas, the Red Sea, Bab el-Mandeb, that is, then the Strait of Hormuz, 1/4 of the global oil transits through those waters. You can just see what I mean. It will be a major problem for trade. This is why China is thinking strategically and moving ahead with thinking about the second plan regarding the Malacca Strait, because all China's energy comes through the Malacca. Now they are thinking about plan B. They are working on it, or as a matter of fact, based on the last conversations I had with some people, especially with the bridge in Thailand. That's going to render Malacca a second option, if ever, but it will be on another direction. For the Gulf, for the Middle East, because it's always been a center of gravity, major power is going to be pulled in one way or another because of its vast richness in natural resources, mainly oil. So I hope it doesn't get to that. I don't see that getting into that. But on the other hand, you're going to have to put an end to those atrocities. You can't let this go forever. It has to stop. So,
absolutely.
Well, guys, we hope you find this very informative. Remember to join us tomorrow. Please, once again, hit that like button and subscribe if you have not done so. If you want to support the channel, just whatever way you want, becoming a channel supporter, member, or buy us a coffee, whatever you feel comfortable with.
We almost have 100 members, David.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys.
See you next time.
You guys take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.